right. Well, welcome to Chop It Up for the first Tuesday of December of 2022, when we are actually, I don't know about you, Tori, but I'm also kind of keeping an eye on Georgia, making sure Georgia doesn't lose its mind tonight.
Yes,
with the runoff there.
Good idea. Because I forgot to turn that on. Thank you. Because I haven't looked at it all day, so I don't. We can't trust polls. I was going to say from the polls, but I don't know. I mean, you even have some Republicans coming out saying I'm not voting for him, which is insane. That would have never happened 4 years ago. That wouldn't happen 2 years ago. So it's going to be interesting what happens. We'll see.
Yeah. All right.
We will see.
So my name is Kevin, host of the podcast, entrepreneur, and overall good guy. Happy to be here, covering for my brother. And y'all pray for Deion. I think the University of Colorado and the Dallas Cowboys have conspired to try and keep him out of this conversation. So y'all pray.
Wow. You know what? You're probably right. You're probably not wrong. Why am I still here? I don't know.
Look at that. Prayer works.
They lifted the band. He is back.
We called out them demons attached to the University of Colorado and the Dallas Cowboys that were trying to keep you away from this conversation.
Man,
we rebuked them.
Yes, sir.
We called in the angels from Texas and from Colorado.
Yes, we called in some African angels.
Even African angels too.
African angels. Hey, maybe even a couple of Haitian ones too.
Man, listen. Thank you for going to war for a brother. Because I did not want to miss this one. I'm like, for real today.
That's what I said about he gotta be here for this one.
Yes,
man. So yeah. Thank you, my brothers.
We got you. All right, we got you. Yes.
So, good. Tori, introduce yourself. Darian, introduce yourself.
Tari Watkins, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Man, I'm ready for this conversation tonight. So I'm ready to get it started. Darian, go for it, brother. You can take it a sip. My bad.
No, my bad. I knew better.
You already.
I knew better. Darian Lewis, Tulsa, Oklahoma. As always, very happy to be here.
All right. So no anecdotes today. Nothing major. Just, again, as I mentioned, we're watching Georgia. Right now, Georgia is 56% for Warnock, 44% for Herschel, but that's only 30%.
Yeah, only 33%. So
probably maybe by the end of this we'll have at least a little better picture, but it probably go all night and tomorrow. So we'll see.
It probably will.
I'm
Did
just
you hear
saying.
The long sigh?
I'm just saying. I don't want.
I got my juice ready.
Vampires or werewolves in the Senate. I think that's
what I don't understand. Where I'm lost is that this man keeps talking, and the buffoonery that comes out of his mouth. Now, I'm not making a judgment against the man. I'm simply stating the statements. The consistency of the statements have been utter foolishness, and yet he's not getting wiped off the map, and I don't understand why. I just don't understand it.
You may not understand, but you know why.
Yes, and that's the scary part.
Yes,
that's the scary part. Like when I don't care what political affiliation you are, I want you to have some intelligence when you get there.
Right.
We said that 5.5 years ago, though, Darian, and look what happened. So, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Or 5 years ago, I would say, not 5.5, but 5 years ago. Yeah, 5.5, but yeah, we'll do 5.5 years. Yeah, we said that 5.5 years ago, and look what happened.
Actually,
because I was talking during the primaries. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen. It is not. What? Yeah. So we said that 5.5 years ago.
I'm with you. I was there too. Like, yeah, this isn't going any further.
You weren't the only one.
Listen,
there is no way.
election night, we were sitting there, and Caricia was like, "This isn't about to happen." I was like, "Nah, I trust the American people."
After Michigan came in, I'm like, it's a wrap at this point. And it was
That's
far
why,
from
again,
over. I'm like,
if you don't have your passport, get your passport. I'm just saying.
Hurry up and get it. Matter of fact, yeah, you need a checklist of potential nations.
Yep.
I may get mine.
Do some visa research
early. I mean, because you're technically not supposed to wait until the final year for your passport. Mine expires in 24, so I may go ahead and start that process early.
Get it next year, yes, sir.
Yeah. I think mine does in 26.
So you should be good for right now.
Yeah. But still, I want all the time on that thing I can have.
Yep.
You're not going to push the envelope, huh?
Before it gets squirrely? No.
No, that is not the time to wait.
No.
And like you said, pick out some countries. Just look, take some YouTube tours, figure out,
study their visa process, study their citizenship process, however you want to look at that. What is it that you will actually have to produce or come with? Or
Dell has already stated that as long as you can work out the tax issues for whatever country you're in, you can work from anywhere.
Yep.
We just heard that. What's today? Tuesday? Friday.
Oh.
Either Thursday or Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how this all plays.
Right?
So speaking of picking up and making a move.
You are the king of segues, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey, I tip my hat to you. I thought I was.
You are the king of segues.
Hey, I'll give it to you, bro.
So over the weekend, news started dropping and was confirmed on Saturday that Deion Primetime Sanders is leaving Jackson State, where he's coached for, I think, the past 3 years.
3 seasons. Yep.
And 3 seasons, and is taking a job at University of Colorado. Now, the coaching changes happen all the time. That's nothing new to college football.
Correct.
Coaching switches, moving around happens regularly. What makes this interesting, and what really the quote unquote controversy is there are many that are saying, well, is Deion Sanders a sellout because he's leaving Jackson State after all these things he said about HBCUs? What about the kids? What about this? What about that? So, of course, we got to talk about it.
Of course we do.
So I'll let you guys.
We're leaving it at that. You're going to start out with a question. We're just leaving it at that.
We're just going to leave it at that because there's so many things to say about it. There's so many.
Yeah, this is layered. This is layered. This really, really is layered.
It's not just one aspect.
And as I told you guys in the text, I was like, I have dual feelings about it. I have feelings on this side and feelings on that side. And I have questions in the middle of why, we'll talk about it. Go ahead. I'll let you guys jump into it.
Go ahead, Darian.
Check that out.
But before the Colorado and Dallas Cowboys Mafia come and cut you off, let's get your
right. Let's get me in and get me just in case. I hear you.
Jerry Jones pulls that plug. Just go.
Just go. I think I'm the closest. Yeah, I think I'm the closest. So, I have to admit I do have some mixed feelings, but I've done some research about what could possibly be, because we haven't heard from him, but what could possibly be the motivation behind it. When we look at his track record, my leaning is this is a good thing. I feel bad for Jackson State, and I feel bad for HBCU football. Well, HBCU presence, period. Because he made such a huge impact, but he wasn't the first Hall of Famer to come to HBCUs and then leave for greener pastures. Nor will he be the last. So, but we haven't seen anyone make an impact. I don't think we've seen anyone make an impact on the status of HBCUs and the bringing to light the actual benefit, like, this isn't whatever picture has been painted about HBCUs. That's not what this is. These are viable universities. These are incredible athletes, wonderful people,
Yes.
that deserve not only your attention but your dollars. They
Mhm.
deserve it. You are going to get what you pay for with
Right.
HBCU. So, and
Yes.
he's helped to elevate out of that stigma. But there's so much work that needs to be done. And the
Yes.
reality is, from what we've seen, he's really not gotten that much support within the HBCU system in order to
Mhm.
really do what's necessary. Now that's what I've read. And that's not been something I've just seen recently. That's been over
Right.
the last 3 years. He's attempted to do things to
Right.
really galvanize
Yes.
not just his school, but the
Yes.
whole HBCU presence that has
Yes.
been resisted. And it's like, why?
Mhm.
What are you guys resisting? He's demanding more money for you guys to get beat up on by these D1 schools. He's causing you to think about, okay, how do we recruit? He's brought more attention to, you can go outside of the HBCU system to bring in talented coaches from the D1 system, from the NFL system, who can
Mhm.
help elevate these kids into higher levels of play.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, there's just this, still has been this resistance to me. There's the only way I know how to put it, of really moving forward. And I'm a whole one of my one of my opinions in general about HBCUs too, because I have a feeling we're gonna get a little bit deeper into that as well.
Probably. So for me, Darren, I was just like you. My initial was, you know what? I'm not mad at him, and I'll and there's another piece I want to get to, but I'll do it for this particular reason. And I asked a question to someone earlier. I said, "Is Deion Sanders truly a football coach?" They're like, "Yes, he's a football coach, and he wants to be a football coach." Yes. All right. Let me ask you this question: what football coach doesn't want to go to the next level and be great there also? If they truly are taking the heart of a coach and molding men, young men, making them better, coaching them. He didn't just start coaching now. He's been coaching at whatever they
High
call it,
No,
school. I know
Pee
these high
Wee,
schoolers.
Pee
Pee
Right.
Wee,
Wee, and then going
all
up
the way up.
through. And so this is a progression for him. So the natural progression for any coach that loves coaching and loves developing young men and helping them to be better men, not just in the field, but in society, their goal is to go to the next level. And
Mhm.
that's what he's done. I said, take all of us. We do the same exact thing. I'm not saying that it's the same exact, situation, money. I said it, but if we're taking it to the level and the foundation of what it is, then I don't have a problem with that. And I do have a problem from what I've seen personally on Facebook. Oh, he's just a HNIC. He's just a coon. He's a seller. I'm like, you know what? That type of name calling is unacceptable to me.
Mhm.
You may have an opinion about it, and guess what? That is absolutely okay. But to stoop to that level and say those particular things, that's out of bounds and it's uncalled for. Also, he does not owe anything to HBCUs. Not a single thing. It wasn't in his contract. Now, I wanted to make sure it was correct, and I looked it up, and I think I confirmed it twice. He said that he will give up half of his salary to help finish building Jackson State athletic program like he had promised. He's not leaving them high and dry. He said that he committed to doing that, and guess what? He is still going to. I'm okay with that. He's just not leaving them and not helping them. What has him being at Jackson State done the past 3 years? First Take has never been to an HBCU to do any type of program, and they did. Game Day has never been to an HBCU
Mhm.
campus. Never. Game Day in the middle of the season. Game Day is at Jackson State. It has never had this type of coverage on any of the sports channels for HBCU schools. And HBCU schools are now being invited to combine in a higher click than they ever have before. Do I dare say it's because of one man? Yes, I do. So what he has done so far has worked. My question is, who's going to take the blueprint and still carry this baton since he's going to Colorado? Now, who's going to step up? We can't leave it to just one man. Who is going to step up? Who's going to provide money? Who is going to take that mantle and keep it going? He's given us a blueprint. I say us. I haven't gone to HBCU, but you know what I mean when I say us. Who's going to take up that blueprint for what he has done and move on? Is it going to be Eddie George? Because he's coaching out at HBCU, and there's other names out there. Who's going to do it? Because he has shown how to get it done. So I don't fault him for going. I don't know what his motives are. I don't sit in his living room. I don't think it's for money because he's got plenty of money and he's got plenty of endorsements. I don't believe it's for that. I want to truly believe this because he is a coach at heart and he wants to do it on the next level when that next level said that he wasn't good enough to do it.
So
I hear that. Now I hear that.
I want that to be the. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know.
I know you want that. I think
case.
all of us want that to be the case.
Right.
But when we talk about what he was making at Jackson State, which was on the order of like 375, I think it was
$300,000 a year.
Okay. Versus what has been said that he's receiving at Colorado.
It's a whole lot of change.
We're talking
$5 million in incentives.
That's a huge difference.
15 times his salary.
Yes, it's a huge difference. Yes.
I love Phoenix.
Boy, yes.
But if I didn't have if God didn't say be here, and someplace offered me 15 times what I'm making right now
Guess
from
what?
the church.
I'm leaving.
Well, again, 15 times what I'm making right now, that's nothing still. But but you get the point,
We
right?
get the point. Yes, sir.
Yes, we get the point.
So
can we go a little bit deeper with that though?
This. People change jobs for a $2 raise.
You know
Why can't he?
Hey, you were spot on.
A 50-cent raise. Listen,
yes.
you will walk out of a 25-cent raise. Listen,
50-cent raise and a weekend off. Oh, I'm leaving. I'm out. Yes,
but can we go a little bit further with that? Let's just say he is absolutely altruistic, and it really isn't about the money. Which I honestly believe he's telling the truth when he says that. Yes, but he's also an elite competitor. No one has ever done what he's done
ever
as an athlete. He's the only athlete to ever play in a Super Bowl and a World Series.
And didn't he hit a home run that World Series?
Yes. So
if I'm not mistaken.
So his mind and his mindset, to me, his mindset has never shifted. Yes, he is an absolute loudmouth, but he's the loudmouth that backs up everything he ever says.
Proven.
So the idea that I knew Jackson State or HBCUs or FBS for that matter,
right,
was not going to be his stopping point because he's used to being he's a fierce competitor. There's no way in the world he's gonna sit at not having a shot at a national championship.
In the Pac-12.
In the Pac-12.
We're not talking South Conference or we're not talking
American, Mountain West.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with those conferences, but they're smaller.
Power 5 conference.
Absolutely. And then you take, and this is the same thing he's always done. You take the bottom of the barrel. See, this is the reason why it's so hard to argue with this guy. He didn't transfer to UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington. No. He didn't take Oregon State or Cal. He took Colorado.
At the bottom of the barrel.
The bottom.
Yep.
Just like he did with Jackson State. Nobody knew who Jackson State was. No one was paying attention to Jackson State before he got there.
I'm be honest with you. I had no idea what Jackson State was. I had no idea.
Jackson State, their claim to fame prior to him was their band. They always had a top
Absolutely.
band.
Absolutely.
Jackson State, in HBCU world, you have Jackson State, which is known for top 5 band or top band, period.
Mm-hmm.
You have Grambling, which is who he has chosen not to stay. He was not chosen to stay at JSU. That person will come at some point. Yeah. You have, Grambling, which is, used to be football as far as legendary. Because now here's the thing: you think about Eddie Robinson, who was a legendary coach in HBCU land.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he ever got offers. And granted, he was in a different time, but I don't know if he ever got offers to go to the next level.
Did Doug Williams ever get any offers to go to the next level?
Yes.
Oh, he did?
He did.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did. But it wasn't for head. It wasn't for a head coach.
It was assistant, a coordinator.
Yeah. So he was like, man, if I'm gonna do all that, let me go on and go back to the pros.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he took a office job with Washington, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Oh yeah, did Peyton to go to Jackson State?
Okay. I have no idea.
Was it Jackson? I know it was an HBCU. I thought it was Alcorn.
I know Alcorn was Steve McNair, but
Alcorn has several actually.
Yeah. I'm just looking right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, he did go to Jackson State. Yep.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
Didn't know that.
All right.
We learn something new every day.
Thank you, Branding.
Thanks for schooling us, brother.
So here's the thing, though, because here's the other question. Oh, yeah, he's family. Okay. Here's the thing with the other thing to talk about is the money disparities.
Okay.
Because you have Branding's dad is a Peyton. Awesome. And the other disparity of the fact that he's at Jackson State and what they're paying is $300,000. He even mentioned part of his reasoning was not only basically for his coaching staff, because he's taking his coaching staff with them, which means that they're getting bumped up.
Yes,
so
they are.
He's not just doing this for himself, but he's also keeping in mind his staff.
That was my
so the question is that why is there such a disparity? And I know the answer to the question, but I'm throwing it out there as far as the disparity, one, between HBCUs and top schools. But then also here's the question that can be thrown out is with what Primetime has done, with what Deion has done for the HBCU as far as their level of being seen,
exposure.
Why do we not hear about SWAC and some of these other HBCU conferences trying to find some type of TV deal? No, you're not going to get ESPN money,
but it needs something.
But you can do something to get some kind of TV deal, which can then again, you got to learn to work the system. The system is set against you. Learn to work that system so that it can work in your favor.
Man, we shoot ourselves in the foot when it comes to that. We've got networks.
That's true.
We do.
We've got networks. We've got networks dedicated to the African American experience.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, we shoot ourselves in the foot with that, and not just one. We've got more smaller regional ones that are trying to do something. It's like, dude, it's cameras on a field. Don't act like it's a whole massive budget.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's cameras at the field. Okay. Even if you got to start off with delayed broadcasting, you can't do it live because whatever, then do that. But no, to me, and this is the I think probably the more frustrating thing, even with Deion. And back to what I said earlier, when you try to pull everybody together for their own benefit, not one man's benefit, everybody's gonna eat if we come together. And you still get folks like, nah. I don't know if you guys saw, and this is just a side note, this type of attitude is what I'm talking about, when Jackson State played Grambling and the head coach wouldn't shake his hand.
I saw that.
Y'all got smashed out and you mad?
Yeah. Talking about he's not SWAC. And yes, here's the thing. He didn't come up HBCU. That much is clear, right? But why have the internal bickering? Yeah, there's the competition, of course, between schools, right?
Right.
Morehouse was horrible at football, but all the other schools were less as far as academics than Morehouse.
Right.
Just saying. We said at Morehouse that Harvard is the Morehouse of predominantly white institutions. So
Yes.
so there is that competition.
There is that competition. I don't know if you've noticed, no, but if you heard that there is a I think it's called HBCU Go that has been okayed for the 2022-23 season for the HBCU games. And I forgot what company, the overlying like conglomerate or company that's hosting that.
Oh, I thought that was the I'm looking right at the man. I hate it when I do this on air.
Blank.
Just old and senile, just all of a sudden.
Yeah, hold on. Let me look it up real quick. Hold on. Go ahead, Darian.
Yeah.
The brother that bought the Weather Channel.
Byron Allen or whatever.
Thank you. I think HBC You Go is one of his affiliates.
All right, here it is. Oh yeah, the Allen Media Group, which owns the Grio and the free streaming digital platform HBCU Go, announced Friday that it has secured national clearance for the 22-23 sports season as part of its new carriage agreement with CBS owned and operated duopoly station. So this doesn't happen 3 years ago if Deion does not go to Jackson State. This doesn't happen. So to say that he has not done anything, because I've seen that also, but he hasn't really done anything in 3 years. This is a byproduct of what he's done the past 3 years.
The fact that this coaching change is so polarizing is a sign that he's done something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, no matter where if you think that he should stay there because, staying with the culture, I get it. I understand that. But at that point, I want you to evaluate and look at your life. Have you done everything according to staying with the culture, or have you moved from another job because it benefits you? And it helps bring up you and your family in the meantime.
Have you gone on YouTube or any other channel to try and watch a football game from one of the HBCUs that you don't necessarily have attended or have connection with, but because you want to see a good football game? Have you done that? Have you supported in that way?
The answer is probably no.
Silence, crickets.
I'll let it sink in. I'll wait. I'll wait.
Right. Pause for dramatic effect.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
The power of the pause. You know how good it is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But yeah, if it wasn't so polarizing, and if he did not have such a deep impact, I remember when. Here's the thing that I just was just thought about. The majority of coaches start off as grad assistants, and they work their way through the natural chain and climb in the coaching sphere, and it doesn't matter what level. From Division 3 to Division 1, this is the process. This man took an opportunity because people were desperate, and then he produced with that opportunity. Now he has that same opportunity because he's not he hasn't been groomed by anyone, he hasn't been trained by anyone, he hasn't come up under anyone else's coaching, and yet every time he goes to this next level, again, he takes what is normally going to be a rock bottom situation, and he produces. He's done it up to this point. Will this be, his first unsuccessful whatever? We'll see. Or will it take longer than people anticipate? There been a lot of coaching changes that have made promises that never delivered. We'll see.
He said it for
let me just point that out.
You know why? UCLA and USC are both leaving.
Yeah, so the Pac-12 is wide open.
It's wide open.
Let me also point this out, though, too, is that Deion worked his way up the ranks because Deion was never going to get the call from the Atlanta Falcons.
No.
Sitting at home doing a commentary for him to come coach the Atlanta Falcons.
No, not
like
at all.
A certain Jeff was his name, Jeff Saturday,
dude,
who was an analyst one day, and then the next day gets a call saying, "Oh, we want you to head coach." Yeah, Deion wasn't going to get that type of call.
No, And do we think he's more qualified than Saturday? 100 times
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
100 times yes. So I got a question for you all. Is Deion Sanders an iconic player, athlete in our generation? Is he iconic?
Yes.
I would say yes.
Hall of Famer, correct?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Dual sport.
Correct.
Championships of both sports, and he excelled in both of them.
Correct. Mm-hmm. He was the elite of the elite. Yes.
Wanted by
and told you he was going to do it.
And told you he was going to do it.
Yeah.
How many individuals that have had this much success on either field come through and become incredibly successful coaches? How many? Not many.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
are there any?
We look at the NBA, terrible coaches. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kevin McHale. These guys are not great coaches at all.
Terrible owners. Terrible owners. Now throw Michael Jordan to that.
Yeah, could you see Jordan as a coach? Oh, God, there's no way. We look at football. I can't even name any that were Hall of Famers and becoming coach, because it doesn't happen, because they're not able to mold it. Deion Sanders is different from anybody else. And for us to sit here and criticize this man for breaking the mold and as you mentioned, he's bringing other families up with him.
And so the other thing,
did you see the conversation?
That's huge for me. He's not
leading the conversation.
Go ahead.
That's Mike.
Yes.
Mike Singletary.
Oh, I forgot about
phenomenal player.
Terrible head coach.
But horrible coach.
Terrible. Yes.
Now, did you see the introduction of him to the Colorado team?
I did not. I didn't.
Okay. So they introduced him to the team, and so the team is there, and he's basically like, y'all got an opportunity to change the lives of people around you, but y'all got to put in work. And he's like, here's the thing that was funny. He was like, some of y'all need to start looking at the portal, because I'm bringing my luggage, talking about other players. He's like, I'm bringing my luggage, and I'm bringing Louis. So if you're not ready to, you might start looking in the portal and seeing what's out there for you.
It's time to get to work.
Positions that are gone.
It's time to get to work, y'all. Hey.
Well, I mean, which they did. There were some students that were like, you know what? I'm not going to be the big fish in the little pond anymore.
Yeah, they said as active the portal has ever been.
Oh, yeah. But
they're saying that he might
the quarterback from Clemson hit the portal. Did you see that?
Yeah.
DJ Ula, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I'm going to picture.
Man,
they're saying that he might pull 4 or 5. He might pull like some level 4, level 5 superstars.
I wouldn't be surprised
that want to play for him.
And here's the thing. Hats off to Colorado. In all seriousness, hats off to Colorado, because they are a Pac-12 school, Power 5. And guess what? They say, you know what? Nobody else is going to take a chance. Bump it. Let's go, Coach Prime. Let's make it happen.
Now, the other part to that, though, is this. They just now got to find the money.
True.
And they will.
They also said
it's Colorado, though. I mean, they'll find the money.
Right. But they also said we don't have the money to pay him right now. We got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And they will.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. Trust me. Those boosters will come. Those boosters stopped giving a long time ago. They're going to be back. Trust me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of old money. In Colorado, Aspen, all those other places, please. He's mad now.
Yeah.
He's mad now that he didn't get into the playoffs. So, you know what? He'll be all right. He just knew he was getting in when TCU and USC lost. He just knew he was getting in. Nope. Didn't happen.
No, man, listen, anybody who's anybody, and Saban should know better. Since we're going to segue to there, Saban should have known better. All you got to do is this. That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
Nick, you lost
twice. 2 losses.
You lost twice in the regular season, sir.
1 loss in their championship game. Come on now. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
No. And that was a good game, by the way.
Just letting you know.
Oh, God.
53-47, 50% in, 906,000 to a little bit under 813,000 for Walker.
Okay.
50% in.
So what happens if it's too close to call again?
Oh no, it's. I think it just has to be.
No, there is no percentage gap. This is all or nothing for this one. Yeah, there is no you got to have a 1%, or a 50%. No, it's all votes. Whatever.
Dude,
It
could
could
you
be about
imagine if it comes
it could
down
be
to the
about
last?
one vote.
I
It
was
could be
about to
about
say, could you imagine if it comes down to the last 10,000, the last 5,000 votes? That would
Well,
be
also statistically, it the only thing it could be is like 50.1% versus 49.9%, right?
9%. Yeah,
Because there's only two people running, so it's not a runoff with third party candidates.
right.
It's
right.
just one versus one. So whoever edges out the other, somebody's going to get 50%
Yeah,
or more.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So
anyway, good stuff. But back to Colorado and trying to find the money. They're gonna find it. They,
It'll come out.
they're gonna find it. They're gonna
Right.
find it because the other thing that I haven't seen, and um I'm not from an HBCU school.
Me either.
I am a little familiar with when we talk about the finance gap and we talk about the um, what I have noticed though is that the fundraising major universities fundraise on a completely different level,
right.
completely different level, and they typically hang on to a database of um, donors who are willing to truly invest. And we see it all the time. It's what Kansas did for Bill Self.
Mhm.
And actually, I take that back. It's what TU tried to do for Bill Self that they still couldn't keep him. Because they gave him access to a jet they didn't have. they seriously, they were like, whatever it is that you want, that's what we're gonna
Right.
get you.
Right.
Okay. Whatever it is that we haven't given you up to this point that you feel like Kansas is going to provide for you, we're going to do our best to match that because
Right.
as of right now, you're our best hope for a Final Four berth.
Right.
And he proved to be that type of coach with
Yeah.
with Kansas. It just didn't work. So
Mhm.
these universities know how to make certain things happen. They
Yeah.
know how to, particularly the D1s. They just fundraise on a completely different way.
Exactly. I said that earlier. No werewolves, no vampires in the Senate.
So one thing that people have to realize about Colorado is that those boosters that were around in the 80s and 90s with Colorado, they're still there.
Mhm.
I mean, you got to
Who
think.
remember that championship run? Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
they're still there. I mean, you got Vail, Colorado money. You got Aspen, Colorado. I mean, trust me, they're there. They may have been a little dormant and haven't probably given as much as they have before in the past, but
Mhm.
the money is there. And guess what? They're going to come out of the woodworks now.
Yep.
The donations are going to be up. Trust me, they will find a way. And it's not going to be very hard for Colorado to get that money. I seriously, I'm not surprised at all. Yeah, there you
Mhm.
go.
Good night.
Yeah, so it's there.
Well, yeah.
They're not going to have a problem finding that money at
At
Mm-mm.
all.
at
No,
all.
no. You start giving some naming opportunities.
Yes.
We're gonna name the locker room after you. That's
Mhm.
worth about 5 to 10 right there. We're
Mhm.
Yeah.
we're, we're
Yes.
gonna name this jetway after you. We're gonna
We're
name that jetway after you,
this section of seats. This is going to be your family section.
dude. I'm
With your
telling you.
name.
Yeah.
Seriously, you want
And
a corner of the field somewhere? Yes, trust me.
and for whatever reason, I just have not seen that type of fundraising effort made by HBCUs. That may be in place. They may have that, and the thing that a lot of folks will probably argue, well, we don't have that kind of capital, we don't have that kind of money. I disagree.
It's there.
I
It's
disagree.
there.
It's there.
And I'm looking at
I
per capita. I'm not looking at necessarily,
right.
D1 versus they should have the same amount.
You have to understand that and I understand this argument. There are a lot of people that do not well, I can't say they do. They probably don't want to sink that kind of money into a football program for an HBCU. And I
I think
understand that.
I think it may be cultural. I think it may be cultural. And
Okay.
here's why. I think that if you're talking about those that give back, for example, who was it? The venture capitalist that paid off like student debts for Morehouse graduates a few years back.
I
Right.
forgot who it was. Yeah.
I think that for those that have that type of resources, I think they're looking at doing more holistic for people across the board, as opposed to just supporting a football program.
That's
or
my
a basketball
point. Yes,
program.
that's my point.
I think that culturally, I think that that's kind of what may be taking place.
And I get that, though. I mean, because not everybody plays sports. So again, I'm not saying I'm a 100% proponent of that, but I get that reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
I hear that, but the truth of the matter is, and this is how it's sold everywhere else in the country, and this is the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
Students pick schools based on success track records.
They do.
9 times out of 10, whatever is the biggest sport is the biggest attractor.
That's true.
Period.
I agree 100%.
You know, matter of fact, they interviewed a number of students who were like, why did you come to Alabama, the football team? These were girls who weren't doing anything but going to school.
That's true. Because when I think about, for example, Grand Canyon University here has been working feverishly to build a championship basketball team. They have, and the president was asked when I was working there, if they would ever consider doing a football team. He's like, no, because the amount of money it would take to get that going and get that successful would be, we'd lose money for the first number of years. He said, but at least basketball, we've got that's going, and they've made some hires as far as coaching. They've made some noise as far as they were like 2 seasons ago. I think they're like 1 game away from getting into the big dance. So that's where they've thrown their money, and that is something that has been, at least for them,
it's the greatest marketing tool a university is ever going to have, is a successful sports program. And it doesn't, honestly, and the more that they can stack that, like I'm convinced one of the reasons why OU is still considered this absolute juggernaut, will remain so in this region, is because they've not just had a great track record of championship football. They've got a great track record of championship baseball, softball, golf, tennis, volleyball, you name it, they keep winning. And so when you look at an entire holistic approach, students going to be like, no wonder they've got 20,000, 30,000 students.
Yeah. To your point, Morris, I think Union and Jinx, unless something has changed drastically, Union and Jinx have better facilities.
Their facilities, oh my goodness.
So so I have a firsthand account of the effect that it has on kids. Okay, when my son was being recruited, he came from Union High School. When he was being recruited, and we did a couple of unofficial visits, we did an HBCU, and he literally was like, "Oh heck no."
because it was worse than what he came from.
Right. He's like, my high school is killing y'all. Like, nah, there's no way. And so I was telling him, like, hey, quit being so bougie.
But Darren, he's right. We visited Tulsa when we moved back to Oklahoma, and we're driving past Union. This came out of Ashley's mouth. I wouldn't lie. Dad, what college is that? I said, baby girl, that's not a college. And what is that? I said, that's a high school. No, that's Union High School. That is not a college. She had no idea. She literally thought it was a college.
And they've redone the stadium now.
Oh. Hey, remember? It was, I don't know if ORU was a Southland Conference, whatever conference they're in now or where they were in before. That college conference played their championship games at Union High School's stadium.
Yes, sir.
Basketball. They didn't play it at the Mabee Center, which holds like 11,000 people, which is not a terrible venue. They played it at Union High School Stadium,
which holds 8, I believe.
It was insane. I'm like, why is this being held at Union?
Have you been in there?
Man, I haven't been there in 20 years, bro.
The arena. Like they played for a couple of seasons. They played semi-pro ball in that arena.
That's insane.
That arena, it's a high school arena. It's ridiculous.
High school arena.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And so if the amount of money that can be poured into a high school off the tax base can produce that. We just and my heart, again, I'm not against HBCUs in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I wish we could come together and figure out. 'Cause I was just thinking about this. If Barack Obama can come up with a game plan to ask everybody for $5 and win the presidential election
Right.
without going to digging into the pockets of the super rich and basically being owned by them. Why is it that we cannot be creative enough to come up with the finances that we need in order to, number one, before we do anything else, keep great talent?
Well, that DNC email engine is relentless. I don't know who's running that, but that's probably why, Darian, because when I mean relentless, I mean relentless. I mean relentless. They will not stop. So that's a big part of it. If we can ever get whoever's running the DNC email engine to start doing that for HBCUs,
sir,
I'm telling you right now, relentless.
Now, the other thing when it comes to it, I'm just going to talk about football for right now. The other thing that's going to have to happen, this is just my opinion. Crucify me if you choose. At some point, now let me go around the corner to get next door. HBCUs had to come up with their own system, their own conferences, their own championship for that matter.
Yeah.
Because they just were never getting a fair shake. They were killing kids. They were straight up murdering these other schools. And so they had to find ways to shut that down. Well, they found it. And so HBCUs were like, fine, we'll go do our own thing. At this point, though, HBCU, I don't know if that's the best mode of operation at this point in history. At some point, HBCUs are going to have to choose to join the rest of FBS and chase that championship to get more recognition.
I agree. The CIAA isn't going to cut it anymore.
We're cool with the Celebration Bowl. I get it because it's ours, but it's limited.
It is.
It's limited. And so, and I remember when Deion Sanders talked about that, he chose to do the Celebration Bowl versus going for the FBS. And he could have done it, but you can't do both.
Right. You can't. It's one or the other.
It's one or the other. And what was crazy to me was somehow out of that the winner of that game, which was the last year, Jackson State and I can't remember who it was. It was a Carolina school, if I'm not mistaken. But then Florida.
What's the same state?
No, it wasn't Carolina A&T. It wasn't Carolina A&T.
It wasn't Shaw or St. Aug, that's for sure.
No. But my point is,
no, it was North Carolina Central.
North Carolina Central. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's this year. Last year was South Carolina State Bulldogs.
Oh,
got it. I knew it was a Carolina school.
State. It was the other. There was the sub-level Carolina, not North Carolina.
Yeah, right. The
sub-level. The bootleg Carolina.
The bootleg Carolina.
South Carolina is under North Carolina. I mean, what are you talking about, Darian?
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
It's geographically under North Carolina.
Oh my God.
In other words, it's kind of like the west side of Chicago.
Pretty much.
It's the west side of the Carolinas.
Pretty much. Oh no, Western Carolina, that's a whole breed to themselves.
That's a whole nother.
That's a
oh my God.
That's a whole nother breed, brother. I'm telling you that right now. My uncle is my daddy. My family tree is a straight line. Yeah, so I mean, it's sorry. I digress.
Oh, good. Well, my point that I was making was somehow out of that whole argument, this goes back to my point about this infighting, this lack of agreement. Florida A&M somehow pops up claiming that they were the HBCU national champions.
Right.
And it's like, you weren't even invited. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude,
right.
What? When are we going to get on the same page? No one else has this issue but us. And yes, I get it. We inherited this, but we are now in control of getting rid of it.
Well,
no one else is holding us to this.
It goes back to what you said, that we're holding on to what is pure, our schools together, the culture, we can't go out. We don't want to lose that, which there is some truth to that. I understand that. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I can understand that fully, that we're here together. We got to band together. We got to stay together, because if we separate, we're going to get lost in the weeds. So there's that fight and there's that struggle of, do we want to leave this behind and go for and try to be better, or do we want to hold on to what we have now and flourish here? That is a struggle.
I think the culture, though, the culture is so entrenched into the HBCU experience that it's going to be hard for it to be dissipated, right? I was at Morehouse when we had our first white student. We called him the White Tiger. He was a kid from Chicago, and everybody was like, "Oh my goodness, we're losing our identity." No, he came. He was, yeah. I'm telling you the things that were around campus, like, wow. Oh, now we got white tigers running around. So I think that the idea that we would lose the culture, because I mean, if we're honest, one of the huge things that I know when I would go to games, halftime, the football game was okay.
The football game was B. The reason you came was for the halftime show. Nobody went and got concessions. No, you did that.
And in the middle of the halftime shows were, I mean, when you have a on the fly diss of the other team by putting the score on the field.
Ooh, that's even better.
Yeah. I mean, when they
like, you couldn't even rehearse that.
Right. They practice so much that they're like, look, if it's a 4, this is where you go. If it's a 2, this is where you go. They had it worked out where this is.
That's insane.
So
that's
you have that.
Easy.
That's
excellent. I don't care what anybody says. That's excellence. That's yes. Yeah.
You know, and so there was something, somebody put a post on Twitter, somebody from supporting Colorado said, you know, can't wait to have this energy at Colorado. And somebody retweeted back and is like, the energy don't come from Deion. The energy is from the HBCU spirit. So y'all not getting that spirit. Y'all just getting the man. And yeah, because when you there's an electricity that comes out of the HBCU game.
I don't disagree with that. But Prime himself, there's a difference. Do you know how much energy he brought to his locker rooms by himself? Now he's bringing his coaching staff and other.
But he's going to Colorado.
Okay,
he's going to Colorado.
They know who they hired.
He's going to Colorado.
Okay. Again,
he's not even going to. He's not even going to South Carolina.
Dude, he's
going to Colorado.
He's not having the boosters play for him. He's going to recruit. That locker room is going to be electric. Why? It's Deion flipping Sanders.
The locker room might be, but I'm talking about the field, the stands, the energy.
Oh, that's different. Well, okay,
and that's what they were talking about.
It also depends on where they put the student section and how many students are allowed to come to the game, because this generation doesn't. I mean, they will get hype anywhere. You've seen college games across the country. I mean, come on now. They're not going to be the same as an HBCU. I get it.
It's Colorado.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
A 20-year-old drunk kid is a 20-year-old drunk kid getting happy for football. I get it's not going to be HBCU. I get
there's
that.
A difference.
I get that. Again, you're not hearing me. I'm not saying it's going to be the fans are going to be as electric as it won't be. But he will bring electricity that hasn't been there before. It's not going to be on the HBCU level. I'm not saying that. But to say that it's not going to be any at all, I don't know who said that. That's just outrageous.
Listen,
people
somehow.
No, they're not going to change the band of Colorado either. No,
okay. Because the band is not going to start playing September. They're not going to be playing.
They might. They might. There's a lot of them doing it now.
If they do, they play in the Taylor Swift version.
I agree. No, it's the truth, because that's what. But we're seeing it. But here's the thing, though, and one of the things that we also got to remember, Jackson State wasn't seeing 60,000 fans.
No,
true.
Now, as much as folks talking about that's the HBCU energy, really was it?
So the reason I said that thing about the energy is because, and I forgot which school it was. I can't remember. I think it was Wisconsin. I don't know. The song "Jump Around." Y'all know the song "Jump Around." I think it was Wisconsin that they had to get the fans hyped, and they went somewhere like a bar or whatever. Fans will get hyped. And the only reason I'm saying is because the student section. If you can get that student section to bring that energy, prime example. They called the Carolina crowd in the Dean Dome. Sam Cassell called it the wine and cheese crowd because all those boosters were close to the floor. There was no cheering. The student section was up in the nosebleed. When Matt Doherty became coach, even though he was a terrible coach, he changed. He says, we're putting the students on the court. And that literally changed the atmosphere in that wine and cheese crowd. We're talking Carolina. It's nowhere close to being an HBCU school. But when you do things like the jump around thing, which Carolina plays now at their football and basketball games, like Wisconsin did 20-something years ago, that does change the atmosphere. No, it will not be HBCU caliber as far as electricity. But if they allow those students in that student section to be electric and they let Deion do what he does, there will be more electricity in Colorado than there ever has been, and that will draw a crowd. Again, it is not going to be a level of HBCU. I get that. But there will be electricity that he brings to that program.
Point of information.
What's that?
Jump Around was written and performed by 3 white guys, 3 Irish white guys.
I know that. I already know this. But again, okay, you know what? Now you're just being cynical. you see, okay, you know, and I'm not going to allow that to happen. You see how crowds react when that song plays. They go nuts. We're talking about electricity. Electricity does not have a color, and I'm not going to allow that to happen. It does not have a color. It doesn't matter who wrote the song. People get hyped in any form, in any fashion. So we're talking about electricity. It can happen in Colorado, and I'm not going to be
Sweet home Alabama.
Alabama.
Because I was about to say Carolina, but I remembered it was Alabama.
Listen. Here's the thing: there are some places when you play that, they lose their minds
too. That does get people hyped.
Yes, exactly.
So they lose their minds. So,
but it's also my signal to run.
Oh, I'm leaving. I'm out. Deuces.
Well, I think the point everybody's trying to make is, can a culture of excitement be produced at Colorado? Can it? Yes. Will it?
On what a culture of excitement, but not the culture of it. No, there's a difference in that word culture.
And that, but that's my point. You know, when somebody says that that's HBCU energy, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the way that we get down as a people? Because you're not going to find that nowhere.
No, you're not gonna fabricate that in. Or xylophones and flight. Yes, again, I'm not talking about the band.
Stop hating, bro. Stop hating.
If we're just talking about basic fan energy, yes, it can happen.
It's going to.
HBCU culture energy? No, he's not bringing that with him,
and he can't.
And I don't think he
ain't trying to.
No, that's what the point was people were like, he's not bringing that energy.
Of course he's not.
Energy, but he's not bringing that energy.
No, he's not expected to.
No, I think
expect him to bring that in. I expect him to bring Deion energy,
he's going to do
amazing, which will be amazing.
He's going to do that, and it's going to bleed over. Yeah, it's going to bleed over.
I'm looking forward to that.
You know, but I promise you, he is looking at the college football playoffs now that they're expanding. There's so much opportunity. They're expanding to 12 teams.
I'm so excited for that, man. 2024 can't get here fast enough.
So
I'm telling you, I can't wait.
That's crazy. Yeah. That is crazy. That's going to be crazy.
I know Lincoln Riley is a bad name around here in Oklahoma, but he went to USC, and if they hadn't lost, I mean, if it was the playoff now, he would still be in it.
Right
now, he lost and he got bumped out, which it should have happened because USC's schedule wasn't that great,
and he got bumped down to number 11. So I mean, he still would have been in. Yeah,
would have been in it. But here's the thing: he went to a conference that pretty much it was ripe for his picking, and that's what he did. And so with Deion now going to Colorado, it may take a couple of years. It may take 3. Hopefully Colorado does what they did with Jim Harbaugh and give the man time, because look at Michigan now. Mm-hmm. I mean, Michigan now is a machine, and I love watching them play football. Let this man do what he does. Don't be the Ty Willingham, Notre Dame, and cut him after a few years. Give the man some time. That's the only thing I ask Colorado to do. Give him time. Give him 5 seasons for his recruiting class, to become seniors, and then give him one more after that. You got to give a football program time. You have to.
Man, listen. I get the feeling, honestly, he has the potential to do the same thing that Lincoln Riley did, and that is a complete flip flop. Now, will it be whatever they are this year, 5 and whatever to 11-2? We'll see. But I do believe he's gonna. I believe he's gonna make that big of an impact, simply because a lot of winning, and let's just be honest, a lot of winning starts with your mindset. It starts with your mindset. And when you have a man that has done what he has done repeatedly, the mindset is what I always focus in on. The dude's mindset, y'all. You can't beat that. The reason why he can talk all the noise he talks. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're right.
I'm just saying the reason why he can talk all the noise that he talks is because he has the mindset of, and he said this, I don't put a time limit on it, but we will succeed. He's like, yeah, I can't give you a calendar, but I can promise you we're going to have a winning program. Because in his mind is, I'm not going to stop. It's either win or die.
That's all he knows.
And again, when he comes into your team meeting, you just finished your season. Your new coach comes in, and it's basically like, look to your left, look to your right. One of y'all ain't gonna be here next season.
Right.
When he look, do you need your portal login? Because some of y'all just need to go ahead and hit that up now.
And here's the other thing: there are not many coaches. I can't. Who's going to beat him in a home recruiting a player with his family?
No.
I mean, seriously.
Mm-mm.
There's not going to be many that can beat him. Mm-mm. Speaking of records, yeah, Derry, your record count was way off for Colorado.
Okay. Okay. What?
They were.
What did I give him? 5 games? What was it?
You gave him 5 games. You gave him 5. Yeah. They were 1-11.
Oh yeah.
They were. Yeah, they were.
Oh,
they were 1-8 in the conference. And
he already up 3 games before the season starts. He didn't already had a turnaround, and the season ain't even started yet.
Already. Yeah. Stanford, Arizona State, Cal, Arizona Wildcats.
Who did they beat?
I can hold on. Let me find out. The St. Mary's School of the Deaf and Blind.
He said Grambling. Dang. You are such a Morehouse man.
They beat Cal 20-13 in the middle of the season. There weren't a lot of close games. Now Arizona State was close. Arizona was close, but all those teams are terrible. UCLA, they got drugged. Minnesota, they got drugged. Dude, they got beat by the Air Force. They got drugged by the Air Force. Oof. Yeah, Utah 63-21. Oof. Washington 54-7. Yeah, it was not pretty. USC 55-17. Yeah, it wasn't. Oregon 49-10. Oof. Yeah, they were 1-11. So it ain't nothing but up.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh, and so yeah, go ahead. Oh man, we are there. We're there already.
Oh my God, we didn't get to Jerry.
We didn't get to Jerry at all.
No. Here's the question I'm just going to ask about Jerry as we close out today. Is anybody surprised?
No.
About the Jerry being found in the picture, basically protesting the Black students integrating. Does that surprise anyone?
Well, you know what his explanation was? He was just there to be curious. He wasn't protesting.
Just like all those other people that were at lynchings, all those other people that were at rallies. Yeah. Okay. I got you.
I'm just telling you what he said. I am by no means supporting that statement. I'm just telling you what he said.
No, I'm not surprised.
What have I been saying for the past 2.5 years? And then you all told me it ain't going to matter. And guess what happened? It ain't mattering.
Well, I was about to say that, and I believe the reason why he addressed it the way he addressed it was because what y'all gonna do?
You can't prove it. You can't prove intent from a picture.
What you gonna do? But even if you could, what you gonna do? Unless you got me holding up a bat about to hit somebody,
or
pushing.
You got me taking off a pointed white cap, holding a burning cross. Then yeah, outside of that,
in this environment, that still won't matter.
You're probably not wrong.
Let's just be honest. In this environment, that still would not matter.
You know what?
That hurts. hurt.
It does.
Exactly.
I mean, honestly,
Exactly,
though,
Morris.
I mean, with Snyder and I don't know. I can't say 100% that it wouldn't matter because we've got people losing teams now, which didn't happen 20 years ago.
But
They
that's
weren't.
Dan
They
Snyder,
didn't have. Yeah.
who nobody really wanted in the first place. They didn't want
Yes, you're right. I don't disagree.
As Morris said, Jerry is the NFL.
Yes, he is.
Forget Roger Goodell.
Oh no,
Jerry runs it.
We already know the commissioner's just a figurehead anyway. We know that,
right? So, all right, listen, that's it for this one. We are out. Just a reminder: next week we will not be here. I will be halfway somewhere down to Mexico. But also, if you have not already, make sure that you are subscribing and liking the Chop It Up page, as well as the Chop It Up Facebook page, as probably at the beginning of the year, we'll shift completely over to those two areas to be seen, heard, and interact. So we'll see you all next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.